Ready to get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship in business. We talk all about small business here. And today we're going to kick up the program with a multifaceted entrepreneur and author whose career spans from the high-stakes world of live broadcasts to the grit of gym ownership. Our guest is Bryan Wetzel, native of Georgia, who's built an impressive portfolio across multiple industries, from contributing to live performances of the 1996 Olympic Games to launching an award-winning education startup. Bryan has a proven track record of innovation. He's also a former restaurateur, a current gym owner, and the author of 2 books, including his latest, A Path to Faith Through Science and Common Sense. Today, I'm excited to talk about the practical pitfalls of small business and his unique journey from production specialist to thought leader. Welcome to the show, Bryan.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Bryan, you've built some businesses, as mentioned, in production, education, hospitality, and fitness. Wow, what a diverse set of experiences. So what are some of the common mistakes that you see small business owners make that ultimately often hurt their success?
Well, the first one that I always, whenever I do a speech or presentation to small business owners, the very first thing I say is raise your hand if you've created a business plan. And it's so shocking, it's usually half the room. And I always tell the ones who didn't raise their hand that you shouldn't even be here at the moment. You're already behind. You really need to map out your idea, how you're going to get to success. You need to see it work out on paper. And some people might think that's kind of old school, but trying to solve how you're going to be successful with something as complex as a business in your head only that's just a path to losing a lot of money. You need to see it work out on paper where you literally write down, this is how we're going to market. This is how we're going to find our target audience, our customers or members or whatever it is you're doing. You need to be able to say, this is how much money we have in the bank. This is what the expenses are going to be. This is how much I'm willing to spend or lose, and stick to that plan and even update it every year and use that as your roadmap. A lot of times, even when someone asks me to help them with their business that's failing, I say, well, let's start a business plan right now based on your expenses and what you're losing. And let's figure out if there's somewhere we can make the proper changes quickly to start growing your business. But if you can't see it work out on paper, then how do you know it's going to work at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Your recent startup was recognized as a top education organization. From your perspective, is the current struggle in our school system simply a lack of funding, or are there deeper structural issues at play?
There are deeper structural issues. This would have to be a 4-hour discussion to get through them all, but it's not lack of funding. Funding has increased. I hear that all the time. It's the money. It's the teachers' pay. It's none of those. When I interviewed teachers about why they were leaving the profession early, pay was number 3. Behavior and stress were number 1 and 2. And with respect to money, if money was the problem with education, it would already be solved. We've increased spending every decade, every year in every state. The problem, though, with the additional money that you'll find, and I have these statistics in the book, is that a lot of that money is getting trapped at the top. In other words, teachers are getting very small pay raises, but the people who are in administration are getting big ones. And there's more administrators than there ever was. I can't remember the exact statistic, but the amount of administrators administrating to the students has gone up 7 times faster than the student population. That makes no sense. And if that was working, then why is education getting worse? You also
And Bryan,
I would say this.
Book,
Oh, go ahead.
Drawing from your book, The Real Problems Destroying Education, where do you see, I want to sort of use that as a segue, what do you see as the top reasons teachers are currently leaving the profession in such high numbers?
It's definitely stress, and they don't feel like they're being supported by administration. That was, by the way, an overall across the board answer I got from 169 teachers I interviewed. And when I was doing the business, I traveled around. I spoke to thousands of teachers and administrators. I'll give you a good example. When I was in school, and I'm 57, almost 58, if you did some of the things or said some of the things that kids say today to teachers, you would be out of school. You'd be at an alternative school or whatnot. I've witnessed and heard stories of kids as young as first and second grade telling their teachers to F off, throwing things at them. I met a teacher who had her wrist broken because a kid threw a large object at her and was back in the classroom 2 days later. And I don't understand the common sense behind a lot of the decision making going on across the board, because in that instance, they say, well, that child still deserves to get an education, but so does the rest of the class. And what a teacher will tell you is this one student or two are disrupting class so much that the rest of the class is not getting the time they need. And that's unfair to all of them. And we're holding the class hostage over one or two students. In most cases, the schools just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the parents, and they figure the student will move out of the school. You know, they'll graduate to middle school, to high school, or wherever, and they're hoping that it'll just go away. But overall, every single teacher I talked to said the administration does not support them when it comes to stress and behavioral issues, threats to harm them from students. They go down to the counselor, and the counselor says, I talked to them, they're fine. They won't do it again.
Bryan,
that's not good enough.
You recently moved into authorship regarding faith and science. What led a tech and production specialist to write a book specifically making a case for God or a designer?
Well, that book is really close to my heart. So throughout my travels doing documentaries and working on live shows for events, I would meet up scientists, or I would end up sitting and talking to researchers. And I was amazed at how vast their differences were between what they believed in and what they were willing to admit science has solved. And it was kind of startling because it was much less than what I was taught in school. The second thing that happened was my mom passed away in 2009, and a series of events that I now consider miracles. I'm a pretty skeptical person, so it took me a couple years to come to that realization, and I chronicle them in the book, happened to me after she passed away that are just unexplainable. Almost as if she was trying to tell me, or God was trying to tell me, that you don't need to mourn. She's fine. She's good. She's in a better place. Mm-hmm. It was that. And then I had other little incidents. Like I knew a young man when I was younger who was in a near-death experience and came back knowing things that he just could not have known about his life and his girlfriend, and they were pregnant. And it really startled me. I wanted to know more about that. And I also had a house where we had, I guess it would be called a poltergeist. It wasn't a ghost. We never saw things, but really goofy things would happen. My friends had witnessed it on a regular basis. And I just really wanted to put a book together that sort of explored all of these spiritual angles and try and make sense of it. And I interviewed other scientists and researchers, talked to other people who had experiences, and I just put it all together in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, his latest book is A Path to Faith Through Science and Common Sense. That's Bryan Wetzel. Bryan, I want to give the final minute over to you to make sure our listeners can get in touch with you, find the book, and find out all about your many diverse set of ventures, which I found absolutely fascinating.
Well, I have a website where you can go and find all my social media or links to the bookstores. That would be BryanThomasWetzel.com, BryanThomasWetzel.com. And you can send me messages. I get a lot of messages from teachers who want to tell me their stories. But you're welcome to ask questions or ask for advice. I can't say that I'll be an expert, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. Bryan Wetzel, really appreciate it. We'll link in the show notes and get people in touch with you. Wishing you a happy new year, my friend. And thanks so much. Come back real soon. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. We'll be right back.